Japan is known across the world for its bullet trains, and the introduction of the Shinkansen has eliminated all except for one daily pair of sleeper trains, branded the Sunrise Express, which is consequently almost impossible to book due to its popularity. In this video, I'll be taking you through the whole experience, from the deluxe sleeper cabin to the onboard catering and the rather strange shower situation, as well as how to book this seemingly impossible train journey for foreigners as we travel from Okayama to Tokyo. Now join me as the journey continues. Welcome to Okayama Station. Initially opened in 1891, this is a major railway station in Okayama's Kitaku ward and typically sees over 46,000 passengers daily. The station here is split over several levels. The level I'm on now features numerous shops and restaurants which are useful for journey preparation, whilst on the top level you'll find the main Shinkansen platforms, which is what I used to get here from Osaka using the Sanyo Shinkansen, though we'll be using the conventional lines which are located on the lower level through these automated barriers here. It's worth noting that most of Japan's mainline non-Shinkansen trains use smaller meter gauge track, so these will more than often be in separate sections of stations where both of these trains run. Now I was supposed to catch the train pulling in now to Izumoshi, which is where part of the Sunrise Express begins its journey to Tokyo. This is the 273 series, which entered service on the Yakumo Limited Express between Okayama and Izumoshi in April 2024, a few months before this video was recorded. However, once the train headed to the sidings, it never came back. The reason for this? Well, I later found out that this was due to infrastructure damage resulting from extreme heat in Japan that day, as it was close to 40 degrees Celsius. After almost 2 hours of waiting, it was pretty obvious I was not going to make it to Izumoshi in time for the Sunrise Express, so I went to the ticket office to exchange my reservation to start from here and went to do my own thing for the next few hours.
6.5 hours later.
Fast forward to around 9 PM and we're back ready to catch our train. You'll be wanting to make use of the ticket machines here or the main office to get your tickets. As I already did so earlier, I just couldn't help but notice how busy this station is even late at night, which shows how much effort Japan has put into its railways to make them more attractive than driving and flying. Our train isn't shown on the departure boards yet, but we need to go to platform 4, where we can see regular service has resumed since earlier, a 273 series seen having arrived from Izumoshi. You may also want to make use of the vending machines and stand in the correct platform section for boarding, which may help later. The Sunrise Express to Tokyo will be departing at 22:34 and comprises of two separate trains, the Sunrise Seito from Takamatsu on the Shikoku Island and the Sunrise Izumo from Izumoshi in the Shimane Prefecture. Both services run daily in each direction and are Japan's last regularly scheduled sleeper trains, hence why they're so popular and almost immediately sell out. Both services exclusively use the 285 series of double-decker sleeper electric multiple units, consisting of 7 carriages each. The first of these trains to arrive is the Sunrise Seito, so not the one I'm in tonight. JR West and JR Central share 5 of these trains for the Sunrise Express services, with manufacturing split between Kawasaki Heavy Industries, Nippon Sharyo and Kinki Sharyo, with all trains entering service in July 1998. The departure from Okayama allows us to see the coupling process of both train sets, which would otherwise have not been possible had I started from Izumoshi, and as you can see it's drawn quite the crowd. If this process is familiar to many Dutch viewers, then it should be, but I'm sure you can tell me why in the comments. Shortly after the Sunrise Seito is prepared, my unit, the Sunrise Izumo, arrives slightly late from Izumoshi given the issues earlier, though before we can board, the unit is prepared in the same manner as the Sunrise Seito before both sets couple together to continue on to Tokyo. Okay, now the coupling's done, we can board the Sunrise Izumo portion of the train, my cabin being in car 4. Now upon boarding the Sunrise Express, the first thing to do if you're not in a deluxe sleeper cabin is to go to the shower card machine next to the lounge area in car 3 and purchase one for 330 Japanese yen. However, there are only 20 of these and they'll more than likely have sold out by the time the train reaches Okayama, as is the case here. Anyway, it seems like our train is leaving, so let's head up to the room. This is the deluxe single occupancy sleeper cabin, located on the upper deck of the 285 series, and it definitely looks like a comfortable space to spend the night. That being said, we depart Okayama station upon entering, leaving around 8 minutes late. Our route sees us cross western Japan as we head towards Tokyo, then travelling through central Japan on essentially a similar route to the Tokaido Shinkansen, albeit on the classic line with a significantly slower speed. Consequently, we only arrive into Tokyo at around 7 AM the next day, our journey on the Sunrise Express taking 8.5 hours to cover a distance of 684 kilometers. Shortly after departure, the attendant welcomed me and checked my ticket, and with not much else to see outside given it's pitch black, let me give you a tour of my deluxe sleeper cabin. As you can see, the room is a simple affair with a desk and bed set up and ready made. However, the bed is much wider than others you'll find on the Sunrise Express. The bed is very plush and comfortable and is very well suited for the overnight journey lengths these trains do on a daily basis. When you first enter the room, you'll find pyjamas alongside the bedding, though given how warm it is in Japan currently, I don't think we'll be needing them. A pillow is also provided, which is okay but not the best. Still better than the ones Obebe provide on their night jet service in Europe. Also found on the bed are slippers for when using the shower or walking around the room, as well as a toiletry kit with a cool Sunrise Express branded bag, which we'll look at later. A coat hook with a coat hanger can be found just next to the door, with a Japanese style power socket found on the desk, though this was the only one I could find in the room. Now, one thing I forgot to mention is that this is actually a smoking cabin. While smoking was discontinued on the Shinkansen in March 2024, you can still do so on the Sunrise Express, though despite this, the room fortunately didn't smell of cigarette smoke from previous trips. There are plenty of air vents in the room to accommodate this, as well as an ashtray on the desk. Whilst there isn't an ensuite or shower in the room, you'll find a wash basin at least to freshen up in the morning. There are also paper cups as well, though just be careful as the tap water isn't for drinking. You'll find a control panel next to the bed which allows you to adjust the announcement volume, temperature, and even set an alarm for the morning. Now, that's pretty handy. The room also has a map containing the train's facilities in both the Sunrise Izumo and Sunrise Saito for when both trains are coupled together between Tokyo and Okayama. There are several gaps between furniture in the room to store luggage and personal belongings, the one underneath the desk containing a sizable bin, which as you can see I've already made use of. The room also features numerous light switches, this one here controlling the main lights while this is the reading light located just below one of the air vents. Finally, there's a draw down blind which completely blocks out the view for a good night's sleep. I love the pattern on it as well. All in all, a brilliant design for an overnight train, though I do wish there was ensuite available. Beggars can't be choosers though, I guess, especially with this train. Now I bet you're wondering about room security, right? Well, in addition to locking the room from the inside with the standard lock mechanism you saw earlier, the outside has a handy feature I've yet to see on sleeper trains elsewhere in the world, a passcode operated lock, which works by resetting the interface and operating it like so. Okay, now let me show you around the rest of the train. Here's one of the single second-class solo occupancy sleeper cabins on the lower deck, which are a bit more cosy than the deluxe sleepers as you can see, but still have pretty much everything you need except for a wash basin. I also managed to get a shot of the equivalent on the middle deck next to the vestibules if you're curious. Here's a single twin cabin, with the fold-down top bunk accessible using the ladder set up to the right. There's also a first-class twin cabin, though I couldn't get a shot of it I'm afraid as they were all fully occupied. I'm now in carriage 5, which is where you'll find the Nobi accommodation, which in a brief summary is the seated accommodation on this train, is free to reserve with a Japan Rail Pass and doesn't sell out as fast as the private rooms. Whilst this may remind you of the Nightjet mini cabin I reviewed just over a month ago, this is basically the equivalent of sleeping on the floor, and with much less privacy, but still better than standard class on a Class 800. Let me know below if you'd sleep here. I returned to Car 3 to have a proper look at the saloon or lounge. Whilst the only form of catering on this train is a vending machine for drinks, it's still great that there's a communal space on board to talk with other passengers or travel groups, something severely lacking on the Nightjet for example. Sadly, the vending machine only takes cash, and I found the prices relatively okay, especially for a train that's extremely popular with tourists. I went for a few bottles of water to tide me over on this very warm day. Car 2 is the accessible car, as indicated by the larger door to accommodate wheelchair users and the accessible room, though this was occupied when I travelled, so no sneak peek inside I'm afraid. Accompanying this is the accessible toilet, with plenty of wash basins and standard toilets present throughout the rest of the train next to the vestibules. In true Japanese fashion, these were immaculately clean, though rather cramped too. Still better than anything you'd get on an aircraft though. I'm now at the end of the train in Car 1, and one thing to point out is that thanks to the walk-through head design of the 285 series, it's possible to walk between the Sunrise Izumo and Sunrise Saito portions, though this would be more useful for staff than the passengers. Anyway, we continue through Japan's classic route, though only reaching top speeds of 130 km per hour, which isn't surprising given these are meter gauge lines. Currently though, we're only reaching 100 km per hour. At around 11:30, we arrive into Osaka station, and this is my cue to call it a day and get some rest. Right, good night all, and I'll see you bright and early in the morning.
Early the next morning.
And a very good morning from central Japan. I managed to get a decent 6-ish hours of sleep, and the night was decent overall, but I'm not fully refreshed just yet. Yep, that's right, it's time to use the shower now, but before that, let's take a look at the amenity kit provided. The main things you'll find here are soap, shampoo, a hairbrush, toothpaste, a toothbrush, and, arguably the most important thing of all, a shower card. Okay, with that, let's head to the shower and freshen up. There are 2 showers located on the train, these being in carriages 3 and 4, or 10 and 11 on the other set, and because I'm closer to carriage 4, I went there. Now it's important to note that there is a limited amount of water on board, so not only are the cards restrictive as I mentioned earlier in the video, there's also a 6-minute time limit once you activate your shower card and start your shower, so if you'll excuse me, I'm very much racing against the clock here. And we made it, with only a few seconds to spare. There's also a hairdryer in the shower which is pretty useful afterwards. Now let's head back to the room and enjoy our final moments on the Sunrise Express together. On the whole, I really enjoyed my time on Japan's last sleeper train, and I was incredibly lucky to have gotten a deluxe sleeper cabin on this train, as even the regular cabins sell out within minutes of bookings opening. As you can imagine, this train is so popular due to being Japan's last remaining regularly scheduled sleeper train, so booking it is extremely difficult. As for how I got my cabin, well, I was travelling using a Japan Rail Pass, and I booked my Limited Express supplement using the JR West website almost a month in advance, as you would normally do. But I lucked out in that someone who booked my cabin cancelled their reservation, so by regularly checking the JR West website I got my reservation, paying 17,280 Japanese yen, or around £87 for my reservation, though this didn't change despite changing my origin station. A few months ago, however, I did find an easier, albeit more expensive way to secure a reservation. If you go to sunriseexpresstickets.com, you'll be able to, for a fee, have Sunrise Express tickets purchased for you and they're delivered once you arrive in Japan, with the prices for the rooms under them shown here. I've of course linked this in the description below, as this will be a far easier method than constantly watching the JR West website all day for available tickets like I did. But there's also some good news for Japan's sleeper train market. JR East is planning on introducing a new sleeper train in 2027 between Tokyo and the Tohoku region in northern Japan, with private rooms only, and whilst further details and scheduling are yet to be announced, he is hoping that this will kickstart a night train revolution in Japan. We're now in the suburbs of Tokyo, and soon enough we arrive into the Japanese capital bang on time at 7:08 AM, ready to take on the day. Now you've heard from me, I want to hear from you. Have you been lucky enough to travel on the Sunrise Express before? Are you considering trying it after watching this video despite how difficult or expensive it is to book? Let me know in the comments. I hope you've enjoyed this video. Please like and share it if you did to aid the channel's growth, and don't forget to subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications for more content such as this weekly. Okay, time to go grab some breakfast before continuing my journey north, which will be the subject of a future video. For now though, thanks so much for coming with me on this trip, and I look forward to bringing you with me on my next one.